Chosen ones, listen closely. You know that feeling. The one where you've always been the sharpest person in the room, but nobody wanted to admit it. You've been holding on to ideas and thoughts that most people around you just couldn't see or understand. And now that moment you've been quietly waiting for is finally here. The truth about your brilliance is breaking through loud and clear. And guess what? The whole town is starting to feel the heat of their own embarrassment. People who once looked down on you are now trying to figure out how they missed what was right in front of them the entire time. They're scrambling, saying sorry, and trying to explain how they were so off about someone who now makes them feel small just by being real. But before we get into how deep this embarrassment runs, let's look at what's really going on behind the scenes. There are way more people than you think right now who are realizing they got it wrong about you, badly wrong. And this realization is turning into something they can't hide anymore. You've felt this building up for a while, haven't you? That silent judgment. The side eyes when you spoke up in group settings. The way folks would act like your ideas were too far out or not practical enough. You'd try to share your thoughts and they'd shut them down like they weren't even worth hearing. You've always been the one saying things like, "What if we try this another way?" Or "I don't think this is going to play out the way everyone's expecting." But instead of listening, they labeled you, said you were overthinking, said you were being difficult, maybe even called you weird. But here's the twist. The same people who rolled their eyes at you are now seeing everything you warned them about start to unfold. Not just one or two things, almost everything. The shift has already started, and it's only going to get louder. Now those same whispers that used to question your thinking, they've turned into whispers of regret. Regret that they didn't take you seriously when they had the chance. You see, chosen one, your mind works in a way most people don't understand. You don't just look at what's in front of you, you look deeper. You notice things most people miss. You see the bigger picture. While others are stuck on what's popular right now, you're tuned in to the truth that lies beneath all of it. That gift of yours, it's made people uncomfortable for a long time. Let's be honest. How many times have you walked into a room and felt like something wasn't quite right, even when everything seemed fine on the surface? It wasn't something you could explain right away. It was just a feeling, a knowing. Your intuition picked up on energy and signs that nobody else could see. So you spoke up and people looked at you like you were just making things up. But you weren't imagining things, you were actually seeing what others couldn't. That coworker who seemed friendly and helpful, you could see right through their game. That opportunity everyone thought was a gold mine, you sensed the trouble underneath it. That relationship someone you care about was all excited over, you knew it wouldn't last. Every time you shared your thoughts, it felt like you were going against the grain. People told you to stop being so negative, that you were overanalyzing, that you should just be happy for others, but they didn't get it. They didn't see that what they called negativity was actually wisdom, that what they called overthinking was your mind working at a level they couldn't understand. Now things have changed. The conversations people are having about you have taken a turn. It's not like before when they questioned your sanity or made jokes about how serious you were. Now they're talking about how they got it all wrong. Imagine this: someone who used to ignore you in meetings is now telling their coworkers, "Actually, they brought this up months ago." Another person who used to brush off your advice is now telling their partner, "I should have listened when they said this might happen." That quiet shame is growing, and it's spreading fast. But here's where it gets interesting. This embarrassment they're feeling, it's not going to stay behind closed doors. No, this is about to go public, because when a group of people realizes they completely misjudged someone, especially someone like you, it's not enough to just sit with that guilt silently. The mistake was too big, too obvious now. They can't just pretend it didn't happen. So they're starting to feel something deeper: shame, real shame. They're replaying moments when they mocked you, dismissed you, or made you feel invisible. They're thinking about the times when they could have asked for your thoughts but didn't, when they should have trusted you but instead followed the crowd. And now, that shame is bubbling up into something that needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed. That's why these apologies aren't going to stay quiet. These aren't the kind of apologies whispered in private where nobody hears. These are going to be out in the open. People are going to try and clear their names not just because they feel guilty, but because your truth is too loud now. Everyone can see it. They're going to want to be on the right side of it. Some of these apologies will happen in the workplace. That boss who kept skipping over your suggestions, they're going to be the one giving you credit in front of the team now. That coworker who always shot down your opinions, they're about to tell the room that you saw something they completely missed. Others will be more personal. Friends who once told you that you worry too much are going to admit that your gut feeling was right all along. Family members who thought you were being too critical or hard to please, they're going to say they should have taken your instincts more seriously. But here's the part that makes all of this even deeper. These people aren't just saying sorry because you were right. They're saying sorry because of how they treated you. They're starting to realize it wasn't just that they ignored your wisdom. They went out of their way to silence it. They didn't just miss the truth. They actively worked against it, against you. And now, facing the truth they tried so hard to avoid, they don't have any more excuses left. These apologies are just the start though. What's coming next is even bigger. People are beginning to see what you really are, smart in a way that doesn't fit into their usual idea of smart. For too long your careful way of thinking was misunderstood. They thought you were unsure. They thought you were scared. They mistook your ability to connect dots for paranoia. They figured if you weren't shouting your ideas with full confidence like everyone else, you must not really know what you were talking about. But now, those same people are realizing something. Real intelligence doesn't always show up loud. It doesn't always come in flashy presentations or bold declarations. Sometimes real intelligence looks like being the quiet one in the room, who actually sees what's happening. Sometimes it's the one who takes their time before speaking. But when they do, they say something that shifts everything. And that's who you've been all along. This isn't about proving people wrong just for the sake of it. This is about showing that staying true to yourself, even when everyone else doubted you, was the right choice. You've been holding on to the truth. You've been carrying wisdom that others couldn't see. And now that truth is coming into the light, with or without anyone's permission. People are seeing you now, not the version they once created in their heads, the real you, the one who saw clearly when everyone else was lost in noise. And that realization, it's changing everything. They're realizing that while they were chasing trends and popularity, you were tuned into something real. And that reality is louder than any rumor, stronger than any lie, and clearer than ever before. Dear chosen ones, your love inspires us to create meaningful content just for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, you can show your support by clicking the super thanks button on your YouTube screen. Every bit of your kindness means the world to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the amazing support system that you are. Now back to the topic. Sometimes your strength looked like you were just being calm when everyone else was rushing around trying to make fast choices. It looked like you were asking questions when others acted like they already had everything figured out. It looked like you were worried when others were celebrating things way too early. Chosen one, none of what led you here happened by accident. And finding this message right now, that's not by chance either. There's something bigger going on. When people like you show up and connect, those behind the system that tries to keep everyone stuck take notice. They don't want us to come together because they know what kind of power that brings. They know what happens when people wake up. But the real question isn't whether you're one of us. That's already clear. The real question is, how much longer are you going to let the system delay what you were always meant to step into? Right now, your real timeline, your real path, is starting to open. The moment you stop trying to fit into the old world and start walking in who you really are, everything starts to shift. You're not just seen differently, you're finally understood. The same people who used to say you were doing too much are now starting to see that your deep thinking was actually a gift, that what they once called negative or overly careful was actually smart thinking, that your refusal to just go with the flow wasn't because you wanted to be difficult, it was because you saw the warning signs everyone else ignored. And now that truth is spreading beyond your circle. This time it's not based on gossip, assumptions or people's opinions. It's built on facts and results. It's based on truth that can't be denied anymore. People you've worked with are going to start asking for your input before making big choices. Friends who once thought you were just being dramatic are now going to want your advice. People in your community who never used to notice you are going to start asking what you think about serious stuff. The parts of you that made people uncomfortable before, now they're becoming the exact things they respect about you. But it's going deeper than just admitting you were right. What they're really starting to understand is what it actually takes to see what you've been able to see. Being able to call things before they happen isn't luck. Seeing the truth about people and situations again and again, that's not a lucky guess. That's not you being paranoid or dramatic. That's a sharp mind. That's insight. And now people are starting to connect that word genius with you. Not the type of genius that's about solving math problems or inventing new machines, but the kind that sees what others miss, the kind that watches how people act and understands what's really going on underneath, the kind that can look at a situation and spot where it's headed, even when everyone else is celebrating or cheering blindly. You've got that kind of intelligence, and people are finally starting to admit it. It starts small. At first, they'll just say you were right about one thing, then a few more, but then it hits them. You've been right about a pattern, about how people move, how things fall apart, how problems grow when no one sees the signs, and they'll realize that your ability to be that accurate over and over again means something. It means your mind isn't ordinary. It's rare, it's valuable. The same folks who once said you were too much are now seeing that they were just not enough. Not enough awareness, not enough patience to look deeper, not enough courage to face things head on like you did. And now you're about to see something most people never experience: total public respect. Not just being proven right here and there, but being fully seen for who you are. Your character, your intelligence, your decisions, all of it is finally being acknowledged by the very people who once ignored or mocked you. You'll start noticing the shift. It begins in conversations. People who used to talk over you will suddenly start listening closely. They'll ask you to explain more. They'll remember things you said weeks ago and bring them up, showing that your words stuck with them. Then you'll hear through others that people are giving you credit when you're not even in the room. Friends will tell you that someone mentioned how right you were. A coworker will say your name came up in a good way in a meeting you didn't attend. And then comes the most direct part. People will come to you, not to argue, not to pretend like nothing happened, but to admit it, to tell you straight up that you were right, that they should have listened, and that now they see how valuable your point of view is. This isn't just about giving your ego a boost. This is about your place in your world changing. You're no longer the person people ignore or doubt. You're becoming someone people look to, someone they trust, someone they want to hear from before they make decisions. But what's even more powerful is how this change goes beyond just a few people. The whole vibe around you is changing. Groups that never used to include you in decisions are now inviting you into the room. Companies or teams that didn't value your opinion are suddenly spotlighting you. Even social circles where you always felt like an outsider are turning around and making space for you, real space. Why? Because they're finally getting it. Having someone like you around isn't just helpful, it's necessary. Most people only look at the surface. They only see what's right in front of them, but you see more. You see connections, signs, risks and hidden motives. You catch things before they explode, and in today's world that's more than useful, it's protection. Communities that push people like you away usually end up making the same mistakes over and over again. They trust the wrong people. They get involved in messy things that fall apart later. They make loud, flashy moves with no real foundation, and they suffer for it. But when people start listening to someone like you, things change. They avoid the traps, they think before they act, they make better choices, and more than that, they start to grow in ways they couldn't before. Your presence brings stability, your insight brings direction, and now that people are seeing this for themselves, They're thinking about all the mess they could have avoided if they just paid attention to you earlier. As more people realize the truth, your role is shifting. You're no longer the cautious voice in the background that everyone ignores. You're becoming the one they reach out to when something feels off. You're the voice of reason when the noise gets too loud. You're the person they trust when things feel shaky. And that's where you were always meant to be. This journey hasn't been easy. It's taken patience, thick skin, and the strength to keep going when nobody seemed to get you. But now all of that is turning into something real, something solid. You're being seen in a new light, and not just by a few people, by many. The very ones who once rolled their eyes when you spoke, now they hang on your every word. The ones who thought you were always being negative, now they see you were trying to help. You've gone from being left out to being the one they want beside them, from being misunderstood to being deeply respected, from being brushed off to being the one whose words carry weight. You didn't have to force it, you didn't have to beg for it, you just stayed true. And now everything is turning around. People who used to think they had it all figured out are realizing they were blind to what you could see all along. And maybe, just maybe, this is only the beginning of a much bigger change. If you feel this stirring inside you, drop 77 in the comments now. Let every other chosen one know that the shift has begun. Stay tuned, because what comes next will shake you to your core. At first, this shift in how people treat you might feel strange. After spending so long being ignored, brushed off, or misunderstood, it can be a little hard to believe when those same people start listening closely to what you say. It can feel surreal when folks who once argued against you are now asking for your advice before making big decisions. But chosen one, this is the space you were always meant to step into. This role isn't new, it's just finally being recognized. You were never meant to sit on the sidelines watching people make the same mistakes over and over again. You were never supposed to keep your insights locked away just to avoid uncomfortable moments. You were born to speak, to be heard, to help lead the way. Now people are starting to get it. They're realizing that your way of thinking, the way you see beyond the surface, the way you ask questions that others avoid, isn't something wrong with you. It's what makes you valuable. What they used to call overthinking was really your mind doing a deeper kind of work. What they once called being negative was actually you seeing the truth early. You've always tried to protect others from falling into the same patterns, but until now they couldn't see that. They mistook your warnings for complaints, but that's changing. What's happening now is reaching far beyond your usual circle. It's not just your co-workers, family, or neighbors noticing your accuracy. The story of who you are and what you bring is starting to spread. People you haven't even met are starting to hear about the one who always seems to know what's really going on. Your name is being mentioned in places you never expected. People are starting to retell stories about how you saw things before anyone else, how your judgment kept others from walking into disaster. This ripple effect is doing something powerful. Doors that were once closed are starting to crack open. Before, opportunities seemed out of reach because people didn't understand what you had to offer. But now that they see you differently, they're rethinking everything. That job you were passed over for, that group that didn't include you, that event you weren't invited to. Suddenly those same people are realizing you're the one they should have brought in from the start. And now they're trying to catch up. Let's talk about the part most folks don't want to admit, the heavy feeling of regret that's hanging over them. This isn't just about being proven wrong. This is deeper. It's the kind of shame that hits hard when you realize you didn't just ignore someone's advice, you helped push them aside. There are people who are remembering the exact moments when they made fun of what you said, times when they acted like your concerns were silly, when they laughed, dismissed, or flat out rejected your insight. And now they're realizing they didn't just miss something small, they missed something big, and you tried to warn them. The truth that's hitting them hardest isn't just that you were right. It's that they were so loud in shutting you down that they chose to believe people who had no real understanding instead of someone who saw everything clearly. That realization doesn't sit lightly. It brings a level of embarrassment that's hard to shake, especially for those who were the loudest in criticizing you. The ones who didn't just stay silent, they actively worked to prove you wrong. And now they're being forced to face the truth. It wasn't you who couldn't see clearly, it was them who refused to. Now you're standing at a point where you have a choice. You could hold on to all of that, the hurt, the rejection, the way they treated you like you didn't matter. You could demand they admit everything publicly, make big apologies, explain themselves, and no one would blame you for that. But this is also your moment to rise even higher. This is the time to show what really sets you apart. Not just your insight, but your ability to move forward without holding on to bitterness. That doesn't mean pretending none of it happened. It doesn't mean their behavior didn't hurt. But what it means is that your focus stays on what's ahead. The people who are reaching out to you now, trying to make things right, they're learning some big lessons. They're finally seeing what happens when you ignore voices that actually care, and how dangerous it is to blindly follow the crowd, and how wrong they were to label someone as too much just because they saw more than most. How you respond to their regret is going to teach them something else. It's going to show them not just how smart you are, but how grounded you are. It'll show them that your strength doesn't just come from seeing patterns or reading energy. It also comes from knowing how to treat people, even when they didn't treat you well. You're teaching them that real wisdom includes compassion, and that true strength isn't about being right, it's about helping others grow, even when they're late to the truth. This shift you're experiencing, it's not just a reward for your patience, it's the start of something brand new. You've spent years feeling like your gifts were hidden, like people couldn't see you no matter how loud the signs were. But now the light is finally shining where it should. Your insight, your clarity, your gut instinct, it's all being seen as the valuable, rare thing it truly is. You're not the outsider anymore. You're becoming someone whose opinion people actually respect, and not just because they feel guilty, but because they finally get it. And with this new role comes new expectations. People are going to lean on you now. They'll ask for your opinion more. They'll want to know what you see, how you feel about certain choices. Your voice is going to carry more power than it ever did before. But that doesn't mean pressure. It also means freedom. You don't have to keep your thoughts quiet just to avoid arguments. You don't have to pretend you didn't notice something wrong just because it might make someone uncomfortable. Now you get to speak freely. You get to say what's on your mind, knowing that your words won't be thrown away. The very same community that once pushed you to the side, that's the same one now pulling you to the center. The same people who used to doubt your instincts, now they're leaning on them. The shift is real, and you didn't have to change who you were to make it happen. All you did was stay true. You trusted your path. You stuck to what you knew was right, even when it was lonely. And now the world around you is finally catching up. This is what real validation feels like. Not just being proven right, but being given space to use that rightness to help others. Being placed where you can do the most good. It's the end of being misunderstood, and it's the beginning of being seen for everything you are. And what's even more powerful, this isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of something much bigger. Now that people know what you carry, what you offer, they'll never see you the same way again, and neither will you. You've earned every bit of this shift. The late apologies, the changing opinions, the invitations, the respect, all of it is showing up now because it's finally time. Time for your insight to lead, time for your vision to guide, time for you to take your place, not just as someone who was right all along, but as someone who was meant to help others see what they couldn't on their own. Everything that happened, all the moments of doubt, all the rejection, all the times you felt like maybe you should have stayed quiet, it all built the strength you carry now. And that strength is exactly what your community needs. You're not just receiving recognition, you're becoming a living reminder of why chosen ones matter, of why we need people who question things, who see deeper, who don't just follow the crowd. Your journey is proof of what happens when someone stays loyal to their truth, even when no one else understands it. The town knows now. The word is spreading. They're realizing they weren't just wrong. They missed something great, but now they see it. Now they're trying to make it right. And Chosen One, this moment you've stepped into, it's the moment everything begins to shift, not just for you but for everyone who learns to listen to the voices they once ignored. If this today's message resonates with your spirit, write 77 in the comments below and declare your readiness. This is your moment to show your strength, not just to yourself but to the world. So my beloved Chosen family, your love inspires us to create meaningful content just for you. If our efforts have touched your heart, you can show your support by clicking the super thanks button on your YouTube screen. Every bit of your kindness means the world to us and keeps us going. Thank you for being the amazing support system that you are. We're forever grateful for your love and encouragement. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye.